All right, the next chapter out of 0 Day is going to be chapter 40. It was late and Michael was tired, but he couldn't sleep. Besides, he preferred to avoid the crazy Manhattan crowds. During the day, this place would be crawling with people, tour groups, curious passers-by, sometimes even people like him. It was better now, without the clicking cameras, the obnoxious chatter. He preferred the peace and stillness of nighttime. He sat quietly, hands folded in his lap, on a wooden bench just across from her. Sometimes Michael felt like talking to his mother, but not tonight. He wasn't sure he needed to anyway. Ever since he was a little boy, Michael had been convinced his mother could hear his thoughts. That's what mothers did. They comforted without words. They loved unconditionally. Michael ran his fingers through his thick brown hair, his mother's hair, and thought about what he would say. "I'm scared, Mother. We're so close to reaching our goals, but I've had to do some things that frighten me. I can live with what happened to the man, I think, but not what might happen to her if she doesn't fix things. I'm afraid of what Father will ask me to do. I'm afraid of losing." Michael was interrupted by someone stumbling up the sidewalk. He turned to see a drunk guy tripping over his own feet, a near-empty bottle clutched in his hands. As he passed Michael's bench, the guy teetered sideways. The bottle fell, rolling to a stop in front of Michael. The guy staggered on, oblivious, talking to himself. Michael leaned over, picked up the bottle, and chucked it in the trash. This is no place to be littering. People could be so disrespectful. "I'm sorry, Mother," he said. Michael leaned back and closed his eyes, pulling his trench coat around himself. When he was young, he used to imagine how she would answer. But somewhere through the years, he'd lost the sound of her voice. He wasn't even sure that he'd ever known it at all. The only thing that remained in Michael's memory was a melancholy tune, the dark outline of a face humming over his crib when he couldn't sleep. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray." A siren wailed on some distant street. A dog barked and a cat screeched. The plaintive sounds of the city at night. A crowded yet lonely and empty place. "You'll never know, dear, how much I love you." Michael stood, eyes filled with tears, and approached the slick marble wall. Just beyond, the crater that had once been a busy subway station had been turned into a park. The train long ago rerouted, but this place would never be anything other than a mass graveyard in Michael's mind. More than 1,000 innocent people were buried under the newly planted grass and sapling trees. The sprouting daffodil bulbs couldn't mask the fact that this was the site of one of the worst terrorist attacks on American soil. It was hallowed ground, and Michael would never set foot on it. He reached his hand out and ran his fingers across the letters engraved in the black marble of the sprawling monument before him. Susan Erlander. Michael blinked back his tears and stood tall. "I wish I could have known you, Mother," he said, "but I will make things right. You know I will. For you." He glanced higher up the wall to the inscription that ran across the top, along with the date nearly 15 years ago that he was too young to remember, but would be seared in his mind forever. The anniversary was coming up, April 15th, and the inscription read, "We hold you in our hearts. We will never forget."